Even when you're pulling at the seams, when the lights go out, you still got me. Oh, 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 oh.
What's going on, guys? This is part 2 of my Sam Kolder My Year transitions. There's going to be one more for sure, and maybe a couple more in this little video series. If you guys haven't seen part 1 yet, I just put that out, and it's all about this reverse luma fade from the shot where the white lines fly across the sky, and then the rest of the shot comes in. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out for sure. For part 2, we're going to be covering the hand wipe transition. I'll show it to you now. So that was super cool. It's a super quick transition. It only lasts about 8 frames, depending on what frame rate you're editing in, but I'll show you guys how it's done. If you guys want to download my hand and the video that I use so you don't have to do it yourself, you can go over to the selfie page and download that video file. There's 17 different hand wipes. I just kept doing it over and over, and so I get a little bit of variety. Each one's a little bit different. If you guys want to use that, you can go download that, or it's super simple to film on your own as well. So we're going to hop into Final Cut, and I'll show you how it's done. So this is the video clip that we're going to use. I have a dark sort of navy wall in my room, so that's what I use as a backdrop. What you want is a lot of contrast for your hand so that we can use the keyer to get that all out. So dark blue was good. If you have a bright color, use that. If you have black, that's awesome. Or you can go to like a dollar store or Walmart and pick up some colored paper, and that would work really well too. But this worked for me, and I didn't need to do anything special. So we can play this through. There's a few different hand wipes. This was just me checking the focus. And then I was 1, 2, 3, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. They're all a little bit different. This was shot on a Sony a6300 in 4K at 30 frames per second. So if you're editing in 24 frames per second, you can slow it down if you want a slower transition, or speed it up as well. So I actually like the second one. That's what I use for that intro clip. So I'll get 1, stop it there. I'm gonna hit I for my in point, and once that goes out, and I'll hit O for my out. And I'll drag this over my clip here. So I got 2 clips. I got drone shot from Thailand in Koh Phi Phi, and then snorkeling as well. This is pretty cool. And then what we want to do is we want to line it up where the hand covers the most of the frame. So you can skim frame by frame. That's probably about there. So I'm just going to hit M as my marker, and then I can drag that so that the marker lines up with the shot below it. So now we have that lined up, which is good. The next step we need to do is key out the blue background. So if we open up our effects tab and go into keyer, not luma keyer, just keyer, we can drag this over. And then for our sample, we can do a square right where the blue wall is. Try and make it a little bit big because there's going to be a little bit of variation in the light. And then we're going to take our matte tools, we can open that up, and we're going to put soften all the way up to 10, erode all the way up to 10, shrink, bring that down, and then for our edge distance, put that all the way up to 25. And I found this was sort of my best settings that I could come up with. So now that we have that over top, the next thing we want to do is add in blend mode. And for this one, we're going to use add. You can play around with different ones. I like the look of add because then it's not a straight video clip. You get a little bit of transparency coming underneath. So I'm going to add that. And then if you scrum through this, that's pretty cool. One thing you got to make sure is to try and match the exposure a little bit with the clips that are below it. This one's a little bit white, so I'm going to hit Command-6 and open up the color board and just drop the exposure a little bit. And that looks good too. The other thing is you can change the color depending on what time of day you shot it at. your hand might be a little bit yellow or a little bit blue. So make sure that looks good with the shots. You can change that by grabbing your whites and bringing that up a little bit more blue. This one will make it a little blue. We'll see how that looks. So I'm going to let this render out quickly. Oh yes, let's render through. Let's take a look. So that looks pretty good. It happens pretty quickly. And you still see that little flash, I guess you can call it. So updated with Final Cut 10.3, they added a transition called flow. And this just sort of morphs everything together more than a cross dissolve. So if we go into all transitions and type in flow and use this and put that underneath and make it really small, we'll sort of hide that chop. So I think I put mine at around, 3 frames is probably about good. You want this to be super subtle, almost too quick for your eye to sort of recognize what actually happened. So let this render through and then take a look when it's done. Okay, cool, that finished. Let's take a look. Start again. So that's pretty good. I think one thing I want to change is the speed of it. So I'm going to hit Command R. I'm just going to make this a little bit faster by about 10%. And then you're going to have to move that back over a couple frames to make sure that lines up. Cool, so let this render out the final time, and then we'll have our final product. Okay guys, so here is the final shot. Nice, that happens super quick. It's almost like the blink of an eye, and it's a completely different shot. This looks really cool when you're doing like that transition from underwater to, or above water to underwater, or from daytime to nighttime or something like that. I definitely recommend try and filming this yourselves. It's super easy, and then you sort of get your own hand and your own product in there. But that is how you guys do that transition. I hope you guys like this video and you're liking the series. Hopefully I'll have a couple more videos to go. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Nothing is as bad as you think, even when you're pulling at the seams. When the lights go out, you still got me. Oh, oh, oh.